Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the March webinar for Coffee with Concepts, Monitor Email Campaign Statistics to Drive Liquidation. So today we are into tax season 2025. So I want to talk about open rates, understanding engagements, and the link to liquidation success, click-through rates, measuring interest and action to drive conversions, segmentation of your email lists to improve liquidation outcomes, best practices for personalized messaging to increase engagement, when to send emails for maximum impact, timing, frequency, and urgency, and how that plays into your strategies and your campaign sending. And then sending campaigns based on customer lifecycle stage. Does that have an impact? And how can you strategize around that? And then, I do want to touch briefly on low open rates. What do you do when your open rates drop and addressing deliverability issues like spam filters? As always, I just asked if you have questions to email customer success at concepts2code.com. And once the webinar is finished, I will answer your questions. All right, thank you. So I'm going to use our demo site, which is Buffalo Credit Solutions. As always, we do demo with Buffalo Credit Solutions. And just a reminder, for access to our library of knowledge base, our library of articles and knowledge base, you always should have a link on your main admin page right here, and then always at the bottom as well that would show your knowledge base and help. So let's get it started with open rates, understanding engagement, and the link to liquidation success. So there are two ways that you can find your open rates. You can either go by your campaigns themselves, or you can go by the day. So I will go over the first one, which is the campaign itself. So let's say that I want to see how a particular campaign performed and how it did with customers. So I am going to, because this is a demo site, I'm going to hide my single email campaigns and I'm going to open up some deliverability tests that I did. So this one right here has a 37% open rate. So I want to look at this information. So 53 were sent, 1 was suppressed, but 20 were opened. I want to understand my open rate. I want to understand, so 20 people opened it, 1 person clicked. Now, I want to know who those people are and exactly what they were doing. So I'm going to hit view emails, and then I'm going to export the entire list of the 54 that were sent. So that's going to bring up my temporary download, which exports into Microsoft Excel format for me. So I'm going to bring that over here. And now I always delete column A to make it easier because then it starts with the reference number. Column A just lists the link for the campaign. So I really want to filter out and look at who opened it. So I'm going to toss a filter onto here, and then I'm going to get rid of 0 opens. So that gives me truly all of the reference numbers that opened my emails, and then I can see exactly who clicked it. So one of the things that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to look at the reference number itself and understand, did that person make a payment on this account or did they just click? And then I'm going to look at all these people that opened and see, do they already have a account created or are they just opening emails and not doing anything? So I'm just going to quick open this reference number here. I'm going to open up a separate screen for my consumers. And I'm going to look and see this reference number. And because this is a demo site, we may have purged this information from our system, but we did not. So I'm going to open up this consumer. And now I know this consumer clicked on a link within my template, which could be a link directly to make a payment, but I'm going to go see payment scheduled. Do they have a payment scheduled? Nope, they do not. And also real quick, I'm going to come over to web users because this is where I can see if they have created an online account as well. So I'm just going to look at the web users. And once that loads, I will take a look at that. But I'm going to go back to my campaign summary. So I'm going to kind of multitask and do two things at once right now. Maybe my email subject or my email content wasn't enough to entice my consumers to pay. So was my offer not clearly displayed? And how can I take this open rate and turn it into consumers paying online? So that's going to be my number one question. And I do apologize, my system's running a little on the slow side today. Um, so along with open rate comes click-through rate, measuring interest and action to drive conversions. So as we know for this particular campaign, we had a certain number, we had 20 opens and then we had one click. So we can come back here. So I'm sorry, we had one click right there. So when I'm looking at my data, do I feel that this campaign was successful from an open rate standpoint? Yes, almost half of the people that received an email did open it, but I only had one person click on it. So then I'm going to go back to my template, and I'm going to look at what is in my template. Oh, and here's my web user search. So I'm going to look up my web user real quick. No, that person did not. So that person clicked on a link within my email, but did not create an account. So I'm going to go backwards again and I'm going to go to my templates and I'm going to see which template. I think I may have deleted that template. So then we're going to go back to the campaign. We're going to view the email and I'm going to open the email. Was there something in there that maybe didn't resonate well? And this is where A/B testing on your templates can come in very, very, very successfully, because this template, while it performed well for opens, might not have performed well for customers having the options that they wanted to see. So this is a very basic template that, again, was created for demoing, but did the consumers that I'm sending it to not like these options? Maybe these options weren't big enough for the consumer to see, and maybe my email subject was too vague. Maybe I want to put in options available for your and put the original creditor account in there. So that's where I would do A/B testing, where I would keep this and do it with 50 people and then put the original creditor in and send it to 50 people and see how each campaign performs. If you find with the original creditor in there, there's more clicks and there's more opens, then you have your answer that that's resonating better with your audience, and will help entice click-throughs all the way to scheduling payment plans. And maybe putting in not just pay your balance in 12 payments and reduce your payment, not just putting in a payment plan of 12 payments and a settlement option, maybe including a little bit more information in this template, letting a consumer know that not only are payment options available on your account, but we're here to work with you if these options are not, you know, within your financial means at this time. And as you can tell, because this is a basic template, if I was a customer and I open this, I have no idea what this is about. I know that there's a reference number, but there's also no original creditor, original account number listed in here. So perhaps this template is very, very vague for customers and they don't know what they're clicking on because they don't know what they're looking at. So again, testing and adding more and trying to get your consumers as much information as possible is going to be beneficial when you're doing your A/B testing, and then watching the results of your A/B testing. And I recommend doing at least a week's worth of testing or at least multiple campaigns of testing to get true data. One test with template A and template B probably won't be enough data for you to get a clear understanding of what customers are looking for. Okay. Segmentation of email lists to improve liquidation outcomes. So one thing that's very important is to focus on these consumers that have previously opened your email. If you're not focusing on consumers that have previously opened due to client restrictions, understandable. If you don't have a client restriction, then I strongly advise and recommend extracting the data for consumers who have previously opened and targeting them for a follow-up. Because they've already opened, their likelihood of re-engaging with your content is higher. And we do see that sending specific targeted campaigns to consumers who've had previous engagement and opened previously have a likelihood of repeat opens in the 30 to 60% range. So if your original campaign doesn't perform as well as you want, extracting those opens after a few days to a week and sending a follow-up can have very good results for re-engagement with those customers or those consumers, excuse me, that have already engaged with you. It is recommended to send to consumers that you have previous engagement with from email service providers, especially Gmail. Gmail likes to see that consumers are not only engaging with your content, but they're repeatedly opening multiple pieces of content that you are sending. So we can see here that this is just one campaign. So let's say that I want to send a campaign to people who have previously opened. And again, I always recommend to filter your lists. And if people have logged in and made a payment, to take them out. So be very cautious with your lists when you're extracting people who previously opened, because you don't want to send to people who made a payment that may be like, why are you sending me an email when I made a payment? Um, so let's say that I want to target this specific campaign or this specific day, excuse me. For this specific day, I want to look at all the people that opened. So it was 11:25. So in your reports, your daily summary reports, you have an email tracking report. And this is crucial if you want to pull information by day. So I'm going to go backwards to 11:25 right now, and I'm going to pull all the data for that specific day for email tracking. So this is going to be kind of a larger list, and we're going to have to filter down a little bit more than we did on the specific campaign list. But once we have everything loaded, this includes all the tracking for the day. So I'm going to again throw a filter on here. I'm going to come to tracking type, and I only want to look at opens. I don't want to look at deliveries. Oh, I can look at links too. Block zero bounce, that's the system doing what you want it to do and blocking people who've previously unsubscribed and suppressing those emails. No tracking, we don't want to look at that. Delivery, those are emails that delivered to the consumer's mailbox and okay to send, or what the system determined does not need to be suppressed. So open and link are what I want to look at specifically. So the day, as you can see, gives me a much greater list than just by campaign. It's easier to sort by day if you're going to send a mass follow-up. Now, as you can see, some people clicked the link, some people opened, and any time it was opened multiple times, the numbers would be in here multiple times. I do recommend then filtering by the reference number list. You can actually filter duplicates out and take them out, but now I have an idea for the day of who I want to follow up with. Um, I take these reference numbers, I come back to the system, and I have a template that's created specifically for following up with people who have previously opened. So if you have that template, I would access that template. For demo purposes, we've been creating new templates. So I will go to this older template. This is following up. A very friendly subject, again, to get them to entice them to open this email, and letting them know, hey, we're following up on our previously sent email, want to extend our assistance to help you resolve your account as quickly as possible. Do you need help, or would you rather we contact you by phone? Giving them a clear, we're following up on our previously sent email, clear indication of what the intention is and that we want to work with them. And again, a very large button that says click here to pay. And then I'm going to select this specific template and I'm going to send it out to customers who have already opened. Now, they've already opened, so they have seen your agency name. They have a stronger likelihood of re-engaging with you. And the open rates and success of a re-engagement, what I like to call a re-engagement campaign or a follow-up campaign, again, between 30 and 60%. Um, you're reaching those people, you're getting repeat engagement with them, and therefore you are increasing the trust level with the email service providers. Um, Best practices for personalized messaging to increase engagement. Have you ever received an email subject that has your name in it and you're more, and might be first name, might be first and last name. First and last name sometimes can actually deter some people from opening, but most emails you get are now personalized, especially if they come from, let's say, a marketing campaign from a large big box store or retailer. They usually are personalized with a touch of either your name or something to do with your cart, if you left items in your cart, letting you know that they're following up with you. Um, it is recommended that you put a little touch of personalization in your email subjects or preview lines to help entice your consumer to open their email from you. So this one has the first name in there that says payment options are available on your account. You can also put the customer's name in here, and this is a preview statement that would say log in and view your available payment options for your account. You can put their name at the beginning or at the end to add a little bit of a personalization. I recommend if you're going to not include their first name or their full name in the email subject to put it in the preview statement. What a preview statement is it's a line at the top of your email. So instead of the consumer opening their mailbox and seeing your email subject and then a URL for an image for a logo, they would see your email subject and then a continuation of that. And the first sentence would then preview for them the content of the email. So putting their name into the preview statement can help increase the personalization, a touch of personalization for them, therefore increasing your likelihood of opens. Now, again, just like you A/B tested with your email subject line and content, I recommend A/B testing with your preview subject and putting personalization in there, and also um, testing, do you want personalization in the preview statement? Do you want personalization in the email subject line, or do you want both? And then sending them out. I would recommend doing a small campaign size, depending on where you are. If you're already warmed up to sending bulk, maybe 150 to 200, depending on how many accounts you have. If you're not warmed up to bulk sending yet, and you want to keep your campaign small and targeted, maybe campaign sizes of 50, again, depending on how much you have available for inventory to send. And it does not hurt to target your previous opens for follow-up, especially with A/B testing, because they are more likely to re-engage with your content as well. Um, when to send your emails for maximum impact, timing, frequency, and urgency. If you don't already have an established strategy for sending, we recommend that you reach out to help build a strategy for sending. Most agencies do have a specific call flow when they make calls. We can incorporate that into sending as well to work along with the outbounds that you're making to consumers as well. Um, Urgency is going to depend on, I would say, where you are in the cycle of that strategy. Initial emails should be, if they're not model validations, should be balance and full is due. We're here to work with you, working into maybe settlement offers or payment options first and then settlement offers. And then I recommend if your client or your um, customer allows you to, sending a recall notice to your consumers, which includes a high level of urgency. Recall notices have a tendency to perform very well as the consumer needs to be aware that, hey, your account is going to leave our office. This is a very basic recall template that has been created and is available to be um, shared with you if you would like. Lets the consumer know that your account will no longer be serviced and how you can prevent it from happening. Um, I have a generic line of by the end of the month. You can put a date in there through one of the replacement fields. You can also change and edit any of the verbiage you want to reflect urgency based on agency need if you want that too. Um, Recommend that your templates start off a little empathetic and then gain more urgency as you lose time with your account. So if they're going to recall after 90 days, I would let the consumer know your account is going to recall at the end of the month due to non-payment, and then prevent this from happening. What does this mean is just a basic explanation for the consumer, but giving them an option to prevent it from happening is very important, and letting them know that it is critical or crucial that we get it resolved as quickly as possible, as soon as possible. For timing and frequency, some campaigns, we found that some campaigns perform better in the morning between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, depending on when you are sending and how often you are sending. And some campaigns perform very well in the afternoon between 3 and 5 p.m. If you think about the timing of a campaign to the timing of the accounts that you're sending to, East Coast accounts would be generally at work between 8 and 9 a.m. in the morning, and then come home anywhere between 3 and 5 p.m. Whereas your West Coast accounts around 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time are starting to get into work and checking their email. So sometimes you can have campaigns perform better in the afternoon than they do in the morning. But generally speaking, there's a sweet spot between 9 and 3, 9 a.m. Eastern Time to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, that seems to perform very well for a lot of customers and agencies. Again, A/B testing on times to send a campaign in the morning, send a campaign later in the afternoon, see which campaign performs better, and try to keep your campaigns all within the same time. Obviously, you're going to want to send out an NSF campaign early in the morning. Those seem to perform very well. I recommend sending NSF campaigns every day if you don't already have that included in your strategy. The engagement is usually very high on those, as customers already have payments with you and have visibility and recognition of your name in their inbox. Frequency of sending is going to depend on client need and agency need as well. NSFs would go out every single day to multiple different accounts, obviously. When it comes to sending initial campaigns, we do have a best practices for email campaign article. I strongly recommend that you review this. Send frequently, but send small. Some agencies have a lot of success sending campaigns, and again, depending on where you are in your warm-up schedule, campaigns, email campaigns less than 1,000, but sending multiple campaigns over the course of an hour or two. When you send smaller campaigns like that, you are not overloading email service providers. So if you send 5 campaigns of 500, as opposed to one campaign of 2,500, you may see better open rates or results for those campaigns. Again, it is important to do testing and see what resonates with your customer base or your consumer base. We recommend sending probably once every 5 to 7 business days to consumers that you do not have engagement with. So if they aren't opening your content, we do recommend not sending to them as frequently as people who are opening your content. You don't want to send to people who aren't opening and have no engagement with you, and risk email service providers maybe restricting your deliverability to the inbox because people aren't engaging. It's important to have a balance of sending to people you don't have engagement with and sending to people you do have engagement with. For questions about that, please email customer success. Sending campaigns based on customer lifecycle stage. Again, if you have accounts that are going to recall, send them a recall notice. Time your campaign strategy and your sending to the life cycle stage of the account. In the beginning, you want to target balance in full, then maybe move towards payment options to entice them to set up a payment plan, and then move to settlement options, and then ultimately a recall notice. Now, really quickly, low open rates, what to do when open rates drop, and addressing deliverability issues and spam filters. We do have a best practices article for maintaining email reputation with bulk sending. When bulk sending emails, it is important to maintain a strong email reputation to ensure your messages deliver to the inbox instead of the spam folder. Maintaining a consistent sending volume is very important. Sudden spikes in email volume and large increases can trigger spam filters. If you have a day that you want to send 15,000 emails, but you're normally sending only between 500 to 1,000, I would recommend not sending those 15,000. You risk spam filters being triggered and filtering out your content, and it will not deliver to your customers. Break it into smaller, manageable campaigns over time to prevent Gmail and other providers from flagging you as spam senders. As you can see, this is a screenshot with consistent volumes and a high email reputation. Send relevant quality content. Ensure it's useful and relevant to your consumers. Engaging content leads to higher open rates and fewer unsubscribes, which can protect your sender reputation. For those of you that don't know, Gmail does categorize you as having a high reputation, medium, low, or bad. The higher your reputation, the more likelihood of delivering straight to the customer's or consumer's inbox. Avoid spammy language in all capital letters, misleading or long subject lines, and excessive use of promotional words or exclamation points. They can hurt deliverability and they can cause you to land in the spam box. Especially with capitalization, all caps within an email subject is flagged by most email service providers. Use segmentation and throttling. Again, segment your consumers by engagement levels. Send smaller batches of email over time. Prevent high volume spikes that can trigger spam filters. Keep a consistent schedule as well to avoid irregular patterns that could confuse email providers. If your reputation drops or if your open rate drops, start another warm up for your domain. If your email reputation dips, initiate a warm up period by sending smaller targeted campaigns to your most engaged consumers first. If your open rates were in the 50s and all of a sudden they're in the 20s or the teens, let's dial back on the volume that you're sending and only send to your most engaged customers for at least a period of 7 to 14 days and reevaluate. Again, if that happens, reach out to customer success. We will work with you and we will advise you on what steps to take to try and regain that open rate and what we can do to increase trust with the email service providers. Improving engagement rates and by allowing you to gradually increase your sending volume over time can help restore reputation. We do have an article for warming up that is attached here. Now, if you're sending 5,000, we don't necessarily need to dial you back to 50 a day. We don't want to do anything that would interfere with your client requirements, but there are strategy adjustments that we can take. Following best practices can maintain a healthy email reputation, even in bulk sending, and ensure that your messages reach your audience effectively. Bulk sending, you're designated to sending to more than 5,000 unique Gmail emails per day. Again, as always, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to customer success. We're just about at the end of time. Please join us on April 11th for adding text messaging for an improved digital strategy. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today for Coffee with Concepts, Brewing Success, one payment, one email, and one text message at a time. I hope everyone has a great day, and we will see you next month.